Well, thanks, Tom. And I'm sure my colleagues who've preceded me have covered this quite well, so I'm not sure what I can add. But I do want to express my support for moving forward with energy legislation. And this whole purpose of this news conference today is talk about the impact of energy prices on agriculture. And you can't find a sector of the economy that's more disproportionately impacted by the high cost of fuel. You look at farmers and ranchers across South Dakota, it's not uncommon to see 70,000 miles put on a vehicle in any given year just because of the distances that we have to cover and the intensive need in agriculture for transportation. And so energy costs have a profound impact. And the one thing that I hear over and over in traveling across my state is that we know these prices that we are seeing today, these commodity prices, aren't going to be here forever. We've seen in the past the volatility as prices come up and go down, but the one thing that we expect is going to be around for a while is the high input costs that agriculture is dealing with today. And so it is absolutely critical that we take all the steps we possibly can to get away from this addiction we have to foreign energy. I just left an Armed Services Committee hearing on Georgia-Russia, and Venezuela is buying weapon systems from Russia. And of course, Russia and Venezuela are both countries that are being enriched by dollars that we are shipping to them, American dollars that we are sending out of the United States to countries around the world who are funding weapon systems and building up their militaries, in many cases countries that have hostile intentions toward the United States. So this issue of energy independence is just critical. It's critical for our national security. It's obviously critical for our ag economy and our economic security in this country. And I know Senator Conrad and others have already talked about the Gang of 10 proposal, now the Gang of 16 proposal. But we believe that we have a plan that can get the necessary votes to pass the Congress, which addresses the critical issue of supply and demand by increasing domestic production. I'm for all sources of energy that are American, and I think that ought to be oil and gas, that ought to be nuclear, that ought to be coal to liquid, that ought to be biofuels, that ought to be wind and solar, all those things that we have an abundance of here in the United States, so that we don't have to continually send those dollars, American dollars, and transfer our wealth overseas to enrich countries that are going to turn around and use those dollars to fund perhaps terrorist organizations that might attack America or American interests. So it's critical that we deal with this issue. Agriculture is paying a dear price in terms of input costs as a result of this dangerous addiction we have to foreign sources of energy, and we are in a position to do something about that. And I hope that we can move in a meaningful way here in the Senate and hopefully put a bill on the President's desk that he can sign into law that will do something to reduce the high fuel prices that all our farmers and ranchers are dealing with in this country. And I will say what Senator Klobuchar also said, and that is in the Farm Bill this year, the energy title does a lot to provide incentives to make this transition to cellulosic ethanol. We've had great success with corn-based ethanol. In 2001, we were producing 1.7 billion gallons of ethanol every single year. This year, we will exceed 9 billion gallons. That is a remarkable success story and a tribute to the hard work of people, farmers who are raising the corn that's fueling this, those who are investing in ethanol plants and constructing biorefineries. And we think that the sky is the limit with regard to where we can go when we make this transition to cellulosic ethanol. And so the Farm Bill provides a number of incentives, both for farmers to grow energy-dedicated crops, for those to invest in biorefineries that can produce cellulosic ethanol, and I'm very excited about the prospects for that. But it's just we can't afford to wait another minute to be moving away from this addiction we have to foreign energy and to make America energy independent. So I'm happy to join in those efforts and appreciate the leadership of the Farmers Union in elevating this issue and talking about its importance not only as an issue that impacts the economy of agriculture, but also as an issue that impacts our national security interests. Thanks.